Oh no, is your dog treating you like the human equivalent of Brussels sprouts? Ducking away when you try to pet them? They might even have started turning their fluffy butt on you when you enter the room. What's going on? In this video, we're diving into 7 surprising signs that your dog might not be totally thrilled with you. One of the usual signs of dislike actually means the opposite. Stay tuned till the end. Number 7. Snuggle struggles. There's just something soul-crushing about that moment when, brimming with love, you reach out to give your dog a little pat, only for them to duck their head or sidestep your affection like you're a door-to-door salesman. We humans mean well, of course. Touch is our go-to for warm fuzzies and bonding. But for our dogs? Now don't get me wrong. Most dogs are generally pro-pets, seeing it as the human equivalent of a nice grooming session. But here's where things get interesting. Sometimes touch avoidance isn't because of some deep-seated issue or traumatic backstory. No, 90% of the time, it's caused by, you guessed it, too much affection. You know that cozy embrace that makes you feel all warm inside? Well, in your dog's mind, it's more like being trapped in a human straitjacket. Take the classic hug, for example. While we're all about the squeeze, your dog might be thinking, wait, am I being held hostage? The more passionately you hug, the weirder it might seem to them. And that friendly pat on the head? For us, it's second nature to reach for the top of a dog's head. It is a natural place for a human to reach, but to them, it can feel a tad predatory, especially since it usually involves us looming ominously above them. So, what's the fix? Try showing love in less controversial areas, like the back or neck. And before you dive in with those pets, let your dog sniff your hand first to show them you're here for a friendly exchange, not a surprise ambush. Number 6. Personal space. Evening, finally. You plop down next to your dog on the couch, ready for some couch potato bonding. And what does your dog do? They suddenly get the urge to nap in another room. Or maybe they make a subtle shimmy away, giving you the classic side-eye as if to say, not so close, human. Here's the irony. A little distance can actually help bring you closer. Think about it. If someone sat nose to nose with you every time you tried to relax, even the strongest bond would hit its limits. Canine psychology shows that giving your dog a bit of space can make them more curious about you. Ignoring them is actually one of the weirdest yet most effective ways to grab their attention. Soon they might saunter over, giving you the "what's happening here" look, and settle down next to you, like the whole distance dance never happened. But if this cold shoulder becomes a regular occurrence, it could mean something more. If they're consistently avoiding eye contact, sidestepping your affection, or bolting out of rooms faster than you can say treat, they might be feeling uneasy or picking up mixed signals from you. Dogs don't hold grudges like we do, but if they're gravitating to their comfort zone, which might be anywhere but next to you, consider it a hint to build trust. Number 5. Bone dairies. Living together, it's easy to forget about boundaries, and even easier when that someone is actually your dog. Now you might be thinking, if my dog pushes their nose in my face or butt all the time, do they even know what boundaries are? Trust us, they have them, and they're particular about enforcing them. Ever notice your dog won't eat unless you leave the room? It's not because they're self-conscious about their chewing face. Some dogs just don't feel comfortable being that vulnerable if they're feeling uneasy or wary. Food time is a moment for safety and relaxation, so if they're insistent on solo dining, they might not fully trust you in their most vulnerable moments. Dogs can be surprisingly assertive about other boundaries too, like their space, and if your pooch is frequently drawing these invisible lines, it could be a sign they're not 100% sold on you yet. Think of it as their way of saying, I like you, but let's keep things professional for now. But just like with people, trust and closeness with dogs come with time, patience, and a bit of understanding when they ask for some me time. Number 4. I don't care. You're leaning down for a little scratch behind the ears, and there it is. The look. You know the one, the sideways stare where you see more whites of their eyes than you ever knew existed. Cute? Maybe. But in dog speak, this whale eye look basically means, Please step back, human. Maybe you're a bit too close, reaching toward them too fast, or doing something they're just not cool with, like those nail clippers you tried to sneak out, or the doggy sweater that screamed fashion disaster. The best thing you can do when you spot the whale eye? Respect the warning glare. Back off before they escalate to a more direct protest. Number 3. Bad to the bone. Isn't it frustrating when you're saying, "Come here," or calling their name for the 20th time, and they still won't listen? Chances are, your dog hasn't suddenly lost their hearing. Nope. They've mastered selective hearing, and they're just choosing to ignore you. This diva-level behavior often means they're not feeling totally secure or respectful toward you. We've all been there with that one friend or family member who talks, and we mentally check out, thinking, yeah, I'll pretend I didn't hear that. So while it's tempting to feel snubbed when your dog pulls this too cool for school routine, take it as a hint to work on the relationship a bit. Try incorporating positive reinforcement, rewarding them for responding, and maybe even adding some fun training games to spice things up. Over time, they might just see you as the cool, reliable leader worth listening to. Number 2. The lick of love. How often is your dog's tongue all over your face, hands, or toes? Most people think of licking as slobbery kisses, pure expressions of love. But here's the thing. Your dog's lick of love might not be about affection at all. While it's true that dogs lick as a way to connect, licking is often more about submission than love. In the canine world, lower-ranking dogs lick higher-ranking ones as a sign of respect, deference, or even appeasement. So when your dog licks you, they might be trying to say, "I get it, you're the boss," rather than "I love you so much." It's a gesture to keep the peace, not necessarily to show undying affection. To encourage true affection, focus on calm bonding experiences like belly rubs, playtime, and hanging out without expectations. Who knows? Those licks might turn into something closer to genuine affection, and hopefully with a bit less drool. Number 1. The wrecking paw. Ever come home to find your favorite shoes shredded or your new couch cushion transformed into a fluffy snowstorm? It's tempting to chalk up these creative expressions to boredom or pent-up energy. But what if we told you this could be your dog's way of saying, "I'm not thrilled with you right now"? Dogs are sensitive creatures, and if they're feeling neglected, anxious, or even a bit resentful, they'll sometimes take it out on the things you love most. Psychologically, dogs are drawn to objects with your scent, like shoes or hoodies, and destroying them is their way of handling complex feelings. In a way, they're saying, "Take that, human," while still finding comfort in your scent. Destructive behavior can also be a cry for attention. When dogs feel overlooked, any attention, even scolding, can feel better than being ignored. So if you're living with a wrecking paw, it might be time to tune in a bit more. With a bit of bonding and mutual respect, you might find your pup retiring from their interior redesign career. Experts agree dogs are more than capable of loving their owners in their own special way, and science has found some pretty cool ways to prove it. Studies have shown that both a pup and their owner experience a release of oxytocin, the love hormone, when they interact in affectionate ways. The reward center of a dog's brain, which is the part that processes pleasurable experiences, lights up with activity when they receive praise from their human. Another study found that a doggo's little heart can beat up to 46.2% faster when their owners say, "I love you." But what about us normal folk? Those who don't have lab coats and high-tech measuring equipment? Well, we need to rely on behavioral cues from our fur babies to figure out if they love us. Some lovey-dovey behaviors are well established, like how your little buddy excitedly greets you with a wagging tail, or how they want to snuggle up in bed with you. But others are a little less obvious. In this video, we explore 9 surprising and unusual ways your dog says, "I love you." Number 1. Big yawn. You've been scrolling social media for a few hours, and now you're feeling really sleepy. Before getting off the sofa and heading to bed, you let out a huge yawn. To your surprise, your pup wakes up and responds with a big yawn of their own. What could that mean? While a yawn by your dog could mean a number of different things, studies have shown that your dog may have caught the yawn from you. Yes, yawns are contagious for dogs too. But are all yawns equally contagious? No. Believe it or not, a yawn hierarchy exists. A research team at the University of Tokyo found that your dog is more likely to catch a yawn from you than a passing stranger. This is because you share a deeper emotional connection with your dog than just some random person on the street. Of course, it could just be because your dog is tired too, but you'll probably get an extra little kick the next time you share a yawning session with your pup. Number 2. Nibs of love. We all know that dogs are pack animals. If your pup thinks of you as part of the pack, it means you're family. From a very young age, pups learn that grooming is a sign of affection within the family. Their moms groom them when they're young, and that behavior is often repeated amongst the litter. Grooming behavior includes licking as well as gentle nibbling with the front teeth. It's also sometimes known as cobbing, because it resembles how humans would eat corn on the cob. Vet surgeon Dr. Alex Crow explains that, for dogs, nibbling is a way to show affection and promote bonding during grooming. So, if your pup likes to gently nibble you, like on your arm or your toes, it's very likely a sign of love. If you're feeling equally affectionate, why not try nibbling them back? Number 3. Smile time. For us humans, it's a natural reaction to smile when we're happy, and smiling happens all the time when you're a dog parent. Just thinking of our little floofs gives so much joy. But is it the same for them? Can dogs even smile? The answer is yes. Studies have shown that dogs can exhibit a facial expression that resembles a smile. This typically includes relaxed lips and an open mouth, often with the corners upturned. The rest of their bodies provide support, usually in the form of laid-back ears and a little wagging tail. While there are a number of reasons your pup might exhibit this facial expression, experts agree that at least one reason is because they feel happy. So, if you catch your pup looking up at you with a giant grin, they might be saying, "You give me joy too." Number 4. Copycat. Remember when you sprained your ankle and had to hop on one leg for a few days? Did your pup follow you around the house, holding up their paw, imitating your silly walk? Well, there's a reason for that, and no, your pup wasn't mocking you. They were mimicking you. A study published in Animal Cognition found that our closest ancestors, great apes, copied human actions when those actions led to a benefit, such as food, but would not copy irrelevant actions, like hopping around. In contrast, the study revealed that dogs are willing to copy all human actions, even when those actions are ridiculous and pointless. Researchers concluded that this mimicking behavior is because of the close bond that dogs share with humans. These findings are even more heartwarming because not all humans are worthy of mimicking. Your pup is more likely to imitate your actions, a person they love, over a random stranger. So the next time you're up for a yoga session, lay out a mat for your pup. You can downward dog together. Number 5. Eye gazing. Have you ever caught your dog gazing up at you? You already walked and fed them, so they don't need anything, but they just keep staring intently into your eyes. You start gazing back at them and suddenly feel so connected. It's not some magic spell, it's love. Research has proven that when your fur baby engages in prolonged eye contact with you, you both receive a shot of the love hormone oxytocin. It's actually the same type of bonding that happens between a human baby and a parent. This behavior seems unique to domesticated dogs only, as studies have found that wolves, even when raised by humans, don't engage in this sort of love gazing. How amazing is that? Our pups have evolved to use eye contact as a way to communicate their love and affection with us. Number 6. To the rescue. Did you know that not all heroes wear capes? Some wear collars. Like humans, dogs instinctively want to protect the ones they love. One experiment published in PLOS tested that theory. Each owner climbed into a large box and gave off distress signals to see if their pup would rescue them. The study found that 1/3 of dogs leaped into action and successfully saved their human from their boxed-in fate. While 33% doesn't sound impressive, there's a twist to the story. The The study's lead researcher, Dr. Clive Wynne, explained that most of those other pups tried to rescue their owners but couldn't figure out how to open the box. So, whether your dog barks to scare off strangers or stands guard over you while you're vulnerable on the toilet, your little buddy has your back. Number 7. I love you more than... But what about when life and liberty are not at stake? Would your pup ever choose you over something else they loved? Something like food? Dr. Wynne and his team conducted another experiment to test this theory. After being left alone for a while, the dogs were given a choice between greeting their owner or running over to a bowl of food. Dr. Wynne told Live Science that 8 out of 10 times the dogs greeted their owners first. When this experiment was repeated with human-raised wolves, the wolves nearly always went for the food. There's just something extra special about the connection between a pup and their human. So, if your pup runs to cuddle you before chowing down his meal, it really could mean true love. If not, don't worry. Being number 2 to a juicy steak is still pretty good in our book. Number 8. Tears of joy. We've all seen emotional reunions. Just go to the arrivals hall at any international airport. The delight when two loved ones see each other from a distance, the mad dash to embrace, and the freely flowing tears of joy. We're getting emotional just thinking about it. We know this type of connection exists between humans, but did you know it can also exist between pups and their owners? In a first-of-its-kind study, researchers from the School of Veterinary Medicine at Asabu University in Japan discovered that when dogs reunite with familiar humans after a long separation, the dog's tear volume increases. Moreover, even more tears were produced when that familiar human was the pup's owner. The deeper the connection, the more tears. And what triggered those tears? Yep, you guessed it. The hormone central to bonding and emotional attachment. The love hormone, oxytocin. Number 9. Stealing your stuff. You were sure you left your shoes at the front door, but they're nowhere to be seen. After a few minutes of hunting around the house, you finally found them. In your pup's bed. You think to yourself, did I forget to feed Fido? Is this some sort of punishment? The real answer might surprise you. According to canine behavior specialists, dogs connect with the world around them through the power of smell. Studies show that when given the option between a neutral object and something that belongs to their owners, pups much prefer your smelly socks. It's a pack-driven behavior. Sharing scents helps dogs feel closer to their loved ones. By borrowing your shoes or socks, your pup is just trying to revel in the close bond you share. So try not to be too upset when your things go missing. Although a lot of dogs find themselves with more than one owner, one person in the household will often become a dog's special person, the one they love above all others. Contrary to popular belief, this preference isn't just based around who fills the food bowls and takes them out to pee. A dog can actually choose their favorite person based on a variety of factors, and they are not always as straightforward as we expect. The true reason why dogs love us. The primary reason that our dogs love us is, essentially, that we bred it into them. When the first wolves decided that these weird bald monkeys weren't going anywhere and looked like they might give good ear scratches, the humans they befriended only allowed the calmest, least aggressive ones to stick around. Any wolves who got aggressive or worse actually attacked their new human buddies were kicked out into the cold. Within a few generations, as the ones that stayed gradually became dogs, they started all being born with a natural desire to be friends with and please humans. This was easier to accomplish with dogs than it was with some other animals, because the basic programming already kind of existed in the canine brain. Wolves are pack animals who naturally live in family groups and will often form strong bonds with each other. Their species was already born with a tendency to befriend and please other wolves, and all the early humans had to do was redirect those instincts towards themselves. However, one major problem with those wolfish instincts was that a pet dog isn't an equal member of their pack. Humans want their dogs to be willing to follow their orders, but most people are less happy with the idea of their dog bossing them around. Not to mention, most people don't want their dogs to follow the orders of any human they come across. Especially if your pup is meant to be guarding your home or your livestock, which are the jobs that those early wolves were originally recruited to do, then having them see every member of the community as part of their pack, and therefore allowing them access to your stuff, is a major problem. Why do dogs really pick favorites? Fortunately, domestication came with a built-in solution to that particular issue. See, domestication isn't just about making wild animals able to hang around humans. The first wolves to hang out with the first humans weren't domesticated, any more than a pet lion in the home of a modern wealthy weirdo is domesticated. Wild animals can be persuaded to hang out with humans and not eat them, even trained to do tricks. But these animals are tame, not domesticated. Domestication is about breeding that tameness into the animals, and it comes with a lot of other traits. In 1952, a Russian scientist named Dmitry Belyalev thought to prove this by attempting to domesticate a new species, wild silver foxes. By breeding the calmest and friendliest foxes together, over the generations he found that, as expected, the foxes became friendlier. But he also found other changes. Their eyes got bigger, their faces got wider, their ears became floppier, and they began to develop spots and other patterns on their coats. Essentially, they began showing the same physical traits that separate domesticated dogs from wild wolves. A lot of these traits are traits that the wild wolves and foxes would have shown as babies. In many ways, that's what domestication does. It turns animals into eternal babies. Like baby wolves, adult dogs like to play. They bark, something that wolf cubs often do and adult wolves rarely ever do, and they chase their own tails and follow thrown sticks. And like all babies, they form an intense attachment to their parents, which for a lot of domestic dogs means they're human owners. The person who a dog sees as their favorite is often just the person that they see as their parental figure. How does your dog pick their favorites? There are a few different factors that play into who a dog chooses to become their favorite person. Often it's the person who has been in the dog's life the longest, or the person who shows them the most physical affection. If the dog has a specific trainer, then it may be that person, as the dog will feel naturally safe and confident with them. Otherwise, it might be as simple as just being the person whose personality best meshes with the dog's personality. A quiet and shy dog might prefer an introverted owner, for example, while an active, playful pup may prefer an extrovert. How to tell if you are your dog's favorite? So, now you know why and how dogs pick their favorites. How do you tell who your dog's favorite human is? We're now going to give you 6 tips to help you tell whether you're your dog's special someone. Number 1. A dog may not be able to spend all their time with their favorite human. After all, favorite humans have social lives and jobs and school, same as everybody else, all of which might end up tragically dragging them away from their beloved pooch. But that won't stop them from trying. If your dog comes running the moment you walk in the door and refuses to leave your side, even if it means interrupting their playtime with somebody else, then that suggests that they consider you to be their favorite human. Number 2. A dog is never more vulnerable than when they're asleep, and they know this. As a result, most dogs will only go to sleep in the presence of somebody that they trust. If your dog chooses to not only sleep near you, but to actually sleep in your bed, then that's a sign that you might be their favorite. Number 3. It might seem odd to think of stealing from you as a sign of affection, but dogs will often steal small items that smell like their favorite person and hide them in their dog bed or around the house. Dogs are very smell-oriented creatures. To your pup, their collection of things that smell like you is serving basically the same function as that picture of the two of you that you use as your desktop background at work. It reminds them of you when you're not around and makes them less upset when they're missing you. Number 4. However many ways there are in which dogs inconvenience their humans, humans do a lot more to inconvenience their dogs. Imagine living with a weird giant who insisted on scooping you off the ground and squeezing you at random. or who kept preventing you from doing fun things like digging in the yard or chewing on their shoes for no reason that you could understand. Dogs are naturally pretty stoic and will often put up with a lot of annoyances, but no human will get away with more than the dog's personal favorite. If you are the only one who can get your dog to take their medicine when they're sick, or sit still while they're being groomed, or let someone clip their nails, then that's a sign that you are their favorite human. Number 5. One of the main ways that dogs show affection to each other is by licking each other's fur to groom it. To a dog, a human petting them with their hands feels kind of like being groomed, or a weird human approximation of being groomed, which is why they go so crazy for it. Because of this, if a dog really loves you, it's only natural that they'd try to show it by grooming you back. Dogs often aren't all that picky about who they lick, but if you find yourself frequently being singled out for extra sloppy doggy kisses, then that's a sign that your dog wants to show you some extra love. Number 6. This is one of the most subtle signs of canine affection, but it's arguably the sweetest. When a dog wants to show somebody that they are the center of their world, they will often do nothing more dramatic than simply sit and stare. If you find yourself noticing your dog's gaze on you more and more, looking at you with those big soppy eyes, as if they can't imagine anything being more important or interesting than their human, then that suggests that you are their true favorite person. How well can you read your dog's emotions? Many dog parents assume that their dogs must be happy, since they're not actively whining or howling, but things aren't so simple. Studies show that as many as 70% of dogs are constantly anxious, despite being very much loved. Their humans don't know how to recognize when something is upsetting them. In this video, we'll look at 9 signs that your dog is feeling unhappy. Once you've picked these up, you'll be the most popular member of the pack in no time. But before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our canine loving community for more tips and tricks on how to care for your dog? Sign number 9. Whale eye never. The so-called moon eye or whale eye expression looks super cute to humans. When you see a picture of a cute cartoon puppy, they'll often be drawn this way, with their eyes rolled to the side so that you can see their whites. It makes the dog's eyes look bigger, which makes them look sweet, at least from a human perspective. But a dog with this expression isn't actually having a sweet time. Dogs show the whites of their eyes when they're feeling anxious, annoyed, or stressed. If you're petting your dog and see them doing this, then it means that they're no longer enjoying the experience and are subtly begging you to stop in the politest way they know how. Sign number 8. Getting the cold shoulder. Their paws are tucked in, their back is curved around into a circle, their tail wrapped all around to touch their head. If it's a very fluffy tail, it might even be spreading over their back like a soft little blanket. It's hard to argue that curled up in a ball isn't the sweetest looking canine sleeping position, but this deceptively cute looking pose can have some troubling implications. Dogs will often sleep this way if they're worried about being attacked while they're sleeping, to ensure that their soft underbelly is shielded from the outside world. A dog's belly is where they keep their fragile vital organs, and is therefore the first place that a predator or another dog would target during a fight. If a dog regularly sleeps curled up around their human, then that could suggest that they're having some issues with trust. Sign number 7. Get me out of this place. Look at that human. They are biting their nails, playing with their hair, twisting their wedding ring, and tapping their feet. Being a human yourself, you'd probably find it obvious that all these are displacement behaviors, repetitive fidgety actions that we do when we're stressed, bored, or upset. For dogs, some of the most common displacement behaviors are yawning, licking their lips, panting when it isn't hot, or lifting one of their front paws off the ground for no obvious reason. This last one can also be a way for your pup to try and signal submission and apology to a human or another dog if they think that they might have offended them in some way and want to calm things down. Dogs engage in displacement behaviors for the same reason that we do. It's a way of working off all that nervous energy. When something stresses them out, they might get the urge to either run away or lash out. However, because they want to be a good dog and make you proud, they keep it all inside, and it comes out in their weird, repetitive gestures. Sign number 6. The lion sleeps tonight. The lion poses might sound like an unusually brave name for a sleep position, but it's not a sign that your fur baby is in the running to be the next king of beasts. The lion poses is when your dog sleeps on their belly, with their head resting on their front legs and their back legs sticking out to the side. As you may have guessed from the previous section, sleeping on their belly is another way that our furry friends try to shield themselves. Even when they're standing up, an anxious dog will often try to lower their belly onto the floor. The difference between this and the curled up pose, however, is that this position has all of the dog's limbs sticking out, ready to spring into action and start running away if things should get very dangerous. Sign number 5. Making a dog's dinner of it. What does it mean if your dog's food bowl suddenly stops emptying? Well, just like you might lose your appetite when you're feeling down, stress and depression can cause a dog to stop eating. This poses a risk to more than just your dog's mental health. If a dog goes too long without eating, then it can cause muscle loss, weakened immunity, and serious, sometimes irreversible, organ damage. If you notice that your fur baby has gone off their food for more than a day or two, then consider it a red flag and make sure to take them straight to the vet as soon as possible to rule out any underlying health issues, such as dental problems, gastrointestinal distress, or other medical conditions that may be causing discomfort. Early intervention can make all the difference in helping your pup return to their happy, healthy self. Sign number 4. Crash and burn. Not only can anxiety and depression cause your fur baby to stop eating, but it can also cause them to start sleeping way too much. Dogs already sleep a lot, up to 14 hours a day. But if they're not having a great time then, just like humans, they can start sleeping even more to try and distract themselves from it. Not to mention that stress and anxiety can actually be quite tiring. Anxiety causes your dog's body to release stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, and their heart rate to rise. This creates an initial burst of energy that your dog might try to work off with a bout of the zoomies, if you're lucky, or by shredding the furniture, if you aren't. Humans get this as well. This is why so many people feel driven to clean or go for a run when they're stressed. Once these hormones deplete and their heart rate goes down, however, the dog will crash and feel tireder than ever. As a result, they end up in a kind of cycle of bursts of anxious energy where they can't sit still, followed by crashing and sleeping for hours, neither of which is any fun for them or you. Sign number 3. Game over. Playfulness levels obviously vary between dogs, and it's natural for certain breeds to be less playful than others, and for older dogs to be less playful than younger dogs. But if your fur baby refuses to even acknowledge that thrown stick or that squeaky toy, then that suggests that there's a deeper problem. Dogs who are unhappy will often lose interest in their favorite activities. If your fur baby stops being playful all of a sudden, and there's no obvious health reason for it, then it's a sign that there might be something making them feel down. Sign number 2. No to love. When you try to pet your dog, how do they react? Are they all tail wags and leaning into your touch, or do they duck or flinch away? From a dog's perspective, petting is the human equivalent to grooming, which is when dogs lick each other's fur to clean it and to reinforce social bonds. If your dog resists being petted, then that's a sign that they don't consider you somebody that they want to share a social bond with. Note the context, though. Physical pain could make a dog wary of being touched, or recent stress, like a change in their environment or routine, could cause them to seek distance. Watch for subtle cues like turning their head away, shifting their weight back, or even yawning, which dogs often do to self-soothe in stressful situations. These behaviors, paired with resisting petting, are signs that your dog is feeling less than happy in their current state. Sign number 1. Feeling unpopular. Is your dog all over the dog sitter when they come to visit, showing them affection in a way that they never do for you? Do they go crazy for your friends when they come over while ignoring you? Do they seem friendlier even with random people on the street than they are with you? It's normal for dogs to be sociable, and some get on with strangers more than others, but any dog's human should be their safe place. The person they look to when they're scared or distressed, and the person that they prefer above all other people. If your dog doesn't know that they can look to you when they're scared or stressed, then that's a sign that there's something about your relationship with them that is making them sad and unfulfilled. So your dog feels unhappy sometimes. It's a difficult thing to face, but figuring it out is the first step to learning how to deal with the problem. And it's not all bad. Your dog still loves you and is still very lucky to have you to take care of them. You probably heard that a dog is only a couple of meals away from being a wolf. Exactly how true is that? Could your pampered pooch go full white fang if they needed to? How much do they really even need you? In this video, we're looking at 7 reasons why your own fur baby almost certainly wouldn't survive spending a night in the wild, or at least why they wouldn't want to try. Number 7. Does your dog have a special sleeping spot? Somewhere sacred where only they may snooze? A patch of the floor where the sun hits just right? A snuggly warm dog bed? Or maybe it's actually a spot that they share with you, joining you in bed every night, or sitting with you every evening on the couch. Wherever your dog chooses to sleep, you can bet that they won't find a place like it in the wild. The wilderness has no radiators and no roofs to offer proper protection from the wind and the rain. No nice, kind humans to cuddle up to. Although your average domestic dog might be just about capable of roughing it in the wilderness, they almost certainly wouldn't want to give it a try. Most modern dogs are well aware that their ancestors made the best possible decision when they decided to approach that caveman campfire all those millennia ago, and they've got no interest in going back to the dark ages of having to sleep outside in the rain. Number 6. You know what else your dog won't find out in the wild? Treats. Treats don't grow on trees, or at least they don't if you're a carnivore. As a predator, your dog would have to either hunt down all their food themselves or live off the carrion left by other hunters. Either way, it's a lot of work for much less food than they're probably used to. There wouldn't be any dog food companies competing to try and find the best recipes to please those doggy taste buds. They'd be stuck with what they could find, no matter how bland tasting. Not to mention a nice bowl of fresh water. In the wild, hydration isn't a given. Your dog would have to search for puddles, streams, or, heaven forbid, slurp from some questionably green water source. And let's be real, your dog has standards. This is the same animal that hesitates over tap water if it's been in the bowl too long. Plus, your pup's idea of work is finding the most comfortable spot to nap, preferably on something soft and temperature-controlled, like your bed or couch. Number 5. One thing that the wild does have in ample supply, however, is other animals, some of which are quite big and scary. Hopefully your dog doesn't have to deal with any large predators in your home, but you might be able to get a sense of how they would deal with such a menace by looking at how they deal with one of the scariest things that they do have to encounter in your house. Many dogs are terrified of a frightening creature that roams the house eating everything in its path, making a horrible roaring noise and dragging the poor human of the house around on the end of its tail. The dreaded vacuum cleaner. Is it any wonder they find it scary? Maybe not, but you do have to ask yourself, if your dog can't handle a household appliance, how likely is it that they're going to be able to handle a bear? Number 4. It is a scientific fact that if you brush a long-haired dog enough, you'll eventually end up with enough fur to make a whole other dog from scratch. Maybe don't ask any actual scientists where we got that fact. Certain breeds of dog require a lot more grooming than others. Breeds such as the poodle, Afghan hound, and chow chow need to be brushed on a regular schedule, and even your average short or medium-haired dog might appreciate a trip to the groomers every once in a while. Or, well, probably not appreciate, but we bet they enjoy the results afterwards. Without regular grooming, a long-haired dog's coat can become matted, leading to pain and discomfort that can only be alleviated by cutting the hair off altogether. Given the difficulty that even the cleverest dog has in handling a pair of scissors, For a pup in the wilderness, this means a lifetime of discomfort. These breeds need human company to help them take care of their fur, something that they simply can't manage on their own. Us humans have a lot of skills that benefit our pups, but perhaps the most important one is our ability to serve as hairdressers for our hounds. Number 3. How does your dog react when you're late with their dinner? Obviously, you don't make a habit of it, but when life inevitably gets in the way, and you end up 5 or so minutes behind in your schedule, we bet that you can tell how your fur baby feels about it. They probably whine, scratch at the door to the room you're in, or at the very least come in and sit in front of you and look at you all wide-eyed and accusingly. And you probably notice it with other things as well. Your dog might feel the need to remind you when it's time for walkies or bedtime, or even just time for you to start work or do your daily chores. Dogs have an excellent internal clock and can very quickly memorize the routines of the humans around them and get upset if they don't get followed to a T. In the wild, however, there is no real daily routine aside from the sun coming up and the sun going down. Your routine-obsessed fur baby might not be able to deal with that lack of organization. Instead, they'd probably prefer to stay indoors, where the times at which things happen are dictated by clocks instead of by random chance. Number 2. That's it! Right there! If there's one thing that our fur babies love, it's being scratched. Behind the ears, under the chin, under the collar, around their neck, on their shoulders. The list goes on. Even without all the other benefits, we bet that our furry friends would consider the whole domestication thing fully worthwhile, just because they no longer have to scratch their own itches. And again, it's something that they wouldn't necessarily have access to in the wilderness. Dogs themselves will sometimes scratch other dogs in places that are hard to reach, but they don't have fingernails like we do, or the dexterity to get into those especially itchy places. Nope, if you want your itches scratched in good time, then you need a human to help out. Not to mention, of course, that without human medicines and repellents, your pup would be defenseless against infestations of fleas and other parasites that plague wild animals all the time. They would be itchier than ever, but also less able than ever to scratch themselves. The worst of all possible worlds. Number 1. Oh no. Disaster! Call on Sherlock Bones or Hercule Poirot. Your fur baby's favorite toy is missing, and nothing will be right with the world until it comes back. Where could it have gone? What villain could have taken it? Could it be the cat? The goldfish? That dastardly mailman? Surely this mystery will be the most difficult and taxing of your whole career. Oh, never mind. It's gone underneath the couch again. For a species that has, in many cases, been bred specifically for tracking things down, dogs can be surprisingly bad at finding their own stuff. Or, even when they do find it, they can't always access it easily. Getting the toy out from under the couch again isn't a job that can be done simply by shoving your snout under there and whining repeatedly, even though that's normally your furry friend's first port of call. It requires fingers, problem-solving, and ingenuity. In the wild, without your ability to find things for them, how would your fur baby survive? How would they keep track of their food? How would they manage to look after themselves? No, humans are definitely necessary for that sort of thing. We're not saying that your pup would starve to death in the wild without the ability to find their toys when they rolled under things, but they certainly wouldn't be as happy as they are at home with you. You do a lot for your dog and don't expect anything in return. Well, maybe except for continuing to be your cuddly little fur baby. But do you ever wonder if your pup truly understands all the things you do for them? In this video, we'll cover 10 ways your dog shows you that in their eyes, you're the best dog owner in the world. Before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our canine loving community for instant updates whenever we post new content? You might have heard that a smiling dog is not a happy dog, but rather one who is showing their teeth to try and fend off a threat. Well, you can rest assured that although dogs do bare their teeth when they're distressed, an open-mouthed grin with their tongue lolling out is actually the canine way of communicating contentment. And if the idea of your pup smiling to say they love you wasn't cute enough, scientists believe that our dogs may communicate this way specifically because they know that we like it. Your canine companion is an expert in studying human behavior, and they can tell when a person is happy or sad. When they smile, they notice that we smile back and seem happier, so they start doing it more often. The fact that they've learned how to do this is an even bigger sign of how grateful they are for all we do for them. So grateful that they learned a whole new facial expression just to make sure that we know that they appreciate us. Does your dog think that your skin tastes like dog treats? Or are they trying to tell you that they think you're really in need of a bath? When your dog licks you, especially if they try to lick your face, it can be a confusing gesture. But these kisses aren't just a sign of affection, they're also a sign of respect. Less dominant dogs will do this to other dogs who are higher on the hierarchy. If your dog tries to lick your face, then that's their way of telling you, "Thanks, boss, for everything that you do for them. You're welcome, Fluffy." If your dog really loves you and wants to express that love in the most dog-like way possible, what could be better than trailing you around the house like a furry shadow? Whether you're cooking in the kitchen, relaxing on the couch, or even just moving from room to room, your loyal companion is right there by your side, showing you that you're never alone. But there's more to this than just following you around. Your dog is constantly on the lookout for those golden moments when they can curl up in your lap, nudge your hand for a quick pet, or simply lay their head on your feet. This constant companionship is your dog's way of reminding you that you're their favorite person every minute of the day. Your dog may also try to pay you back in a more literal sense. Dogs have a very clear sense of ownership, and they will often become upset if somebody touches their things, or worse, tries to take them away. Because of this, one of the purest ways that a dog can show you how wonderful you are is by attempting to give you some of their things as a present. Unfortunately, these are unlikely to be things that you actually want. Think less nice books or bottles of wine, and more half-chewed dog biscuits and their own toys. But like with all gifts, it's the thought that counts. And in this case, the thought is that your dog loves you in one of the only ways that they can. Watch out! Your dog seems to have decided that they're fed up with walking on 4 legs and would rather be a 2-legged animal, possibly, given the height that they're jumping, a kangaroo. What's up? Besides from your dog, that is. Well, jumping up at you is another way that your dog tries to show they think you're the best thing that could happen to them. As we mentioned earlier, dogs like licking your face and jumping up in the air is the best way to achieve that when you're standing upright. Jumping also allows your dog to look you in the face, which is another important part of saying "I love you" while working around your significant height difference. One of the simplest ways that your dog is smitten with you is also one of the sweetest. If you notice your pup gazing at you from across the room with their big soppy eyes focused on your face, that's love and affection right there. Dogs stare at the people they love for the same reason that humans do. Staring at somebody we love causes our bodies to release oxytocin, the chemical that makes us feel love and happiness. Obviously, your pooch has no idea about the scientific explanation for this, unless you happen to somehow end up with a puppy professor. They do know, however, how to recognize when you're happy, and if gazing into each other's eyes makes you feel happy, then your dog is more than happy to oblige. Whoops, is that definitely your dog you're petting there? I mean, they look like your dog, and they feel like your dog, and they're in your home. But surely this must be a cat? What else could explain that loud, contented purring? Well, not many people know this, but dogs can actually purr as well, or make a similar noise anyway. When a dog is feeling extra content and happy, such as when they're cuddled up with their human, they'll release a low, vibrating rumble sound that sounds exactly like a cat purring. This is one of the purest expressions of doggy delight. If you hear your dog make this sound, know that they're channeling love with all their heart. Boop boop! You might notice your pup giving you a quick poke with their nose every now and then. Why? It's not just a way to get your attention. It's a way of showing you how much they love and appreciate you. Nudging you with their nose allows your dog to get a good long whiff of your scent and to get their scent onto your skin or clothes. This is their way of showing you that they consider you to be a member of their family and they want you to know how much you mean to them. Does your sleep-loving dog go into full-on superhero mode when a stranger shows up or the doorbell rings? Dogs naturally want to protect the ones they love, and when they start barking up a storm, it's because they believe you're worth guarding with everything they've got. But it's not just you they're looking out for. Your dog's protectiveness often extends to your possessions and loved ones too. Whether it's standing guard over your favorite chair or watching over a family member, your dog is ready to spring into action to keep everything you care about safe. It's their way of telling you that, in their eyes, you're the best. Who wants a tummy rub? Your dog, that's who. But rolling onto their back and showing off that fluffy tummy isn't just about asking for pets. A dog's belly is a very vulnerable part of their body. It's where they keep their vital organs, and it's a place that another dog would likely try to target in a fight. Rolling onto their back and exposing their belly, therefore, is a supreme sign of love and respect. Your dog is saying, "I love you enough to know that you would never hurt me, and I respect you enough to give you the opportunity to hurt me if you want to." It's also commonly used as a sign of submission, something that dogs who are lower in the pack hierarchy do to dogs who are more dominant. When your dog does it in front of you, therefore, they're letting you know that they're happy to let you be top dog, because you're just the best at caring for them. "I love you to the moon" isn't the only thing that your dog might be trying to say with their body language. Just because your dog doesn't act upset doesn't mean they're A-okay. A study in 2021 showed that 70% of dogs show signs of suffering from anxiety. In severe cases, this can start affecting your dog's physical health as well as their mental health, potentially resulting in illness or even death. So what's a dog owner to do? As much as we'd like to think that we know our pups well enough, dogs have a lot of ways of communicating that they're unhappy, and some are more subtle than others. One big problem for our dogs is loneliness, particularly in the case of pets who are left alone all day while their people are at work or school. From how it's caused, to its signs, to how to solve it once you've spotted it, in this video, we're going to take a deep look at canine loneliness. But first, why not ring the notification bell for regular tidbits about your best bud? Why do dogs get lonely? Every domestic dog in the world today is descended from prehistoric wolves, highly social animals, usually living in packs of about 6 or 7. But the social nature of their ancestors isn't the only reason why dogs get so attached to their human pack mates. It's also down to neoteny. Neoteny is when an animal retains traits that are normally associated with babies of the species into adulthood. It's a trait commonly bred into domestic animals because a lot of wild animal species become more aggressive when they transition from childhood to adulthood, which can be bad news for the humans they live with. In the case of dogs, neoteny not only ensures that they stay all cute and cuddly as they grow into adults, but also causes them to retain some useful traits. For example, barking in wolves tends to be a puppy thing, with adult wolves being far too sophisticated for it. The first humans who domesticated dogs, however, wanted them to guard their homes and livestock, so we bred them to be able to bark when someone was coming. Another very common trait in baby mammals is extreme attachment to a primary caregiver. In your dog's case, you. Dogs view us as parents as much as packmates, and therefore feel it extra hard when we leave them alone for too long. If your dog is unusually attached, however, to the extent that they become distressed, even if you're just in the other room, then you may have a Velcro dog. These dogs struggle with extreme separation anxiety and become extra clingy as a result. Lapdogs and working dogs, who are bred to do jobs that involve them being especially close to humans, are especially prone to this. However, it can also be triggered by a traumatic event in your dog's past or an existing anxiety disorder. How to tell if your dog is lonely. We're now going to look at some of the signs of loneliness in dogs that even the most devoted owners may not pick up on. First off, Experts recommend giving your dog some kind of bath at least once every 3 months, although you may feel the need to do so more often if your dog has rolled in something stinky. In general, however, dogs clean themselves by licking their fur. This is not only a way to keep themselves looking neat and tidy, by dog standards at least, but a way of calming themselves down and self-soothing. As such, a stressed-out dog will groom themselves more frequently, in some cases developing granulomas or bald patches where they've licked themselves extra hard. If your dog keeps doing this, then they might even start licking off layers of skin, so it's vitally important to address the problem as soon as possible if you notice your dog has started losing fur. And here's another easy-to-miss sign of loneliness. Like humans, dogs are diurnal, meaning that they sleep at night and stay awake during the day. However, unlike humans, unless they're a working breed, your dog probably doesn't have a day job, so they're free to take as many long, luxurious naps as they want. If your pooch has started napping much more than usual, however, it could be a cause for concern. Just as a human staying in bed all day can be a sign of depression, so a dog napping all the time can be a sign that something is upsetting them. One of the best parts of having a dog in your life is knowing that you'll always have somebody at home who is happy to see you when you come home from work. But some people's dogs are a bit too happy to see them at the end of the day. These dogs go absolutely crazy, jumping up and down, barking their head off and licking them half to death. There's nothing wrong with a bit of overexcitement. Overexcited is practically the default emotional state for some dogs. But if your dog is freaking out and going crazy every time you walk in the door, then it's a sign that they may be getting too lonely and bored while you're away. Their over-the-top reaction suggests that it's not just the joy of seeing your face that's setting them off. It's also the joy of having something to do and someone to play with after a whole day of doing nothing. You might also want to watch out for this. Some breeds are chattier than others, but if your normally quiet dog has started barking a lot more than usual, or if your chatty and talkative dog has suddenly revealed a hitherto unknown ability to make even more noise, then that can be a sign that your dog is distressed. If the neighbors complain about your fur baby barking while you're out of the house, don't assume they're just yelling at the squirrels. Excessive barking can be a sign that your dog misses you and is trying to get your attention in the hopes that you'll come back to them. Last, but not least, and this might sound a little counterintuitive, but sometimes your dog's loneliness can actually manifest as an unwillingness to socialize with humans or other dogs when they're given the opportunity. If your puppy insists on clinging to you and only you when there are guests over, or if they're the dog park loner, then that could be a sign that they need more opportunities to socialize. It feels wrong to put your dog in situations where they have to socialize when they're clearly not enjoying the experience. But your dog's social anxiety is likely being caused by a lack of social experience. If your dog doesn't regularly interact with humans who aren't you, then they can start thinking of other humans as strange and intimidating. Worse, if your dog doesn't interact with other dogs on a regular enough basis, then they won't get the chance to practice their canine social skills. As a result, when they do encounter another dog, they may struggle to communicate. What do I do if my dog is lonely? Your first thought might be to get another dog. That way they can be friends. But that's not necessarily as great an idea as it sounds. The introduction of a new pet into a household is always going to be a difficult transition for existing pets who may feel like this new stranger is invading their territory or replacing them in your affections. Getting your doggo a sibling when they're already stressed out is only going to make the problem worse. Plus, dogs crave human companionship as much if not more than the company of other dogs. If you get a new dog and then leave both dogs home alone all day, then you'll just have 2 lonely dogs instead of 1. Company in general is not a bad idea, however. If you can, try spending more time with your dog and taking them to places where they will meet other people and dogs in a friendly context, like the house of a dog-loving friend or the dog park. If you can't be there for your dog during the day, you can also arrange for somebody else to come in and look after them, such as a dog walker or sitter. If you can afford it, maybe even doggy daycare. If you can't manage to get your dog some company, then your next step should be trying to make them feel happier and more secure when hanging out on their own. Try setting up a small enclosed space where your pup can hang out while you're gone. Crates, but if and only if used as safe spaces and not punishment cells, can be a miracle worker. Your dog's wild ancestors would have taken shelter in caves, and being in a crate simulates that experience for your dog, making them feel safe. You should also include some toys in your dog's crate, especially brain training toys like puzzle feeders. If they're spending all the time while you're at work trying to figure out how to access those tasty treats, then they're less likely to focus on you being gone. How well do you know your dog? From the look on their face, to how they stand, to how they react when you're in the room, your dog's body language holds a wealth of information about their mental state. In this video, we'll explore 12 subtle signs that your dog is feeling angry, scared, or distressed. While none of them is a sure sign on its own, watching out for a combination of these signs will make you the ultimate canine communicator, so you'll never again have to wonder whether your dog is mad at you or not. Ever reach out to give your pup a quick scratch behind the ears, only to have them duck their head away from your hand? What's going on? They've never rejected a good ear scratch before. Well, your fur baby doesn't just enjoy getting petted because they happen to have incredibly itchy ears. Petting is a way for your dog and you to demonstrate your bond of friendship. If your dog is mad at you, then just like how you wouldn't want to hang out with your friends like normal if you just had a major quarrel, they don't want to be petted while they're still angry. There's nothing better than sitting on the couch, only to have your pup jump up and flop down on top of you. You may never get all the hair off the cushions, and if you have a large breed, then you may be feeling a little squashed under their weight. But it's worth it to know that your fur baby is happy and relaxed. So what does it mean when they stop doing this? If it's been a while since your dog decided to lie down near you, or if they've stopped relaxing at all in your presence, then that suggests that something you've done has caused them to lose trust in you. If you ever want to be part of a puppy pile again, you need to find what the problem is and fix it. Most dogs will do anything for a treat. Even explore the spooky basement of an obviously haunted house, while their friends all hang out in a heated mystery machine, if cartoons have taught us anything. Your dog doesn't just crave treats because they like how they taste, or because they're particularly hungry. A treat is a sign of human approval, which is something that most dogs crave more than anything else. So if your pup suddenly starts rejecting their treats, and there's no sign of any medical issue that could cause a loss of appetite, then it's a sign that your dog is deliberately rejecting your affection and approval. Dogs tend to vary in their opinions of strangers. Some pups can't stand to even be in the same room when guests are over, while others have to be held back from jumping on random people in the park and trying to lick their faces. These extremes are fairly normal, although potentially a sign that your dog needs more training, as is anything in between. Where you want to watch out, however, is when your dog's reaction to strangers is significantly more positive than their reaction to you. You should be your dog's safe place. If they prefer a stranger's company to yours, then that suggests that something has gone seriously wrong in your relationship, and it needs to be fixed. One of the cutest things about our dogs is their loving gaze. We've all spent time getting lost in our pupper's eyes, and we've all obsessed over those photos of adorable pooches that get shared on social media, with their eyes so wide that you can even see the whites. But what if we told you that those images aren't always as cute as they first appear? Whale eyes, or half-moon eyes, are a facial expression your dog uses where they roll their eyes back or to the side, showing off a crescent of white sclera. This is actually one of the most subtle ways your doggo has of communicating that they're feeling distressed or annoyed. You might have heard the expression, "get someone's hackles up," meaning that a person is very annoyed. But have you ever stopped to wonder what exactly a hackle is, or why it might go up or down? It's actually the line of fur that runs across your dog's back. When they get annoyed, scared, or very excited, these hairs stand on end. Probably this is a leftover instinct from your dog's wild ancestors, designed to make them look bigger so as to scare off potential threats. It doesn't really work, given that most dog breeds have fairly short hackles, but it's a good way of picking up on your pup's mood. Does your dog need a nap? They're certainly yawning like they do. Watching them might even make you start yawning yourself. This isn't necessarily a sign that your fur baby is tired, however. Yawning in dogs is a common displacement behavior. Your dog engages in it when their instincts or emotions are telling them to do something that they know isn't allowed. For example, if they're feeling angry and want to show it, but they've been trained not to growl at humans. To work off the excess energy, they yawn instead. Humans also engage in displacement behaviors when we're annoyed, scared, or uncomfortable. A good example is when you need to go to the bathroom, but you're trapped in a long meeting, so you start tapping your feet or fidgeting with your pen to suppress the discomfort. If you notice your dog yawning a lot, it means that something about the situation is making them feel uncomfortable. Is your dog hungry? They're certainly licking their lips like they're waiting for a snack. Or like they've got really dry lips. Maybe your pup wants another meal? Or maybe you should lend them your chopstick. If you do, be sure to wipe it off afterwards. In reality, your dog licking their lips is what's known as an appeasement gesture. A gesture that your dog does when they think that the two of you have fallen out. That basically means, I know we're both mad, but you're also really big, so please don't eat me. If your dog is licking their lips, it means that they're uncomfortable with whatever's happening, but are also nervous about how you'll react if they voice that discomfort. You can learn a lot about how your dog is feeling by looking at their stance. A relaxed dog will stand at ease, with their tail hanging loosely behind them. An angry dog will stand tensely, with their spine ramrod straight, their legs stiff, and their tail either sticking out straight behind them or pointing upwards. It won't be wagging. Their ears might also be flattened against their head, or else noticeably pointed forward. If you notice your pet standing like this, then it means that something is really aggravating them. It's not a hot day, but your dog won't stop panting. Are they thirsty? Or has that thick, furry coat finally got the best of them? Dogs do pant to cool off when they get too hot, but they also pant when they're uncomfortable or distressed. You'll likely notice this behavior more when your dog is going through particularly scary or distressing experiences, such as a vet visit or the 4th of July. Other times, your dog may signal their distress in a way that makes it look like they're too cold. Dogs will often shiver or tremble when they're feeling scared or upset. It's a stress response that they share with humans. Who hasn't gotten a little shivery while watching a scary movie in a darkened room? The movement is a side effect of adrenaline, the fight or flight hormone, flooding your dog's body and making their muscles twitch uncontrollably. You might have heard people who lose dramatically in a fight or at sports described as being sent home with their tails between their legs. It may not surprise you to learn that this expression was inspired by dogs. Your pup's tail is one of the most expressive parts of their body. When it's on display, either wagging or straight up and alert, then that means that your dog is feeling a big emotion and they want everyone to know it. When they choose to hide their tail, however, by tucking it down under their belly, it's a sign that your dog is feeling scared or nervous and wants to make themselves as small and unobtrusive as possible. In 2023, a survey revealed that 76% of dog owners let their pups sleep in bed with them at night. Maybe you're one of them, and who can blame you if you are? But why do dogs really want to settle down next to their owners?